Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning and welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. We are Dorothy. It seems like since we did the show 2 weeks ago with Rachel from CD's Plants.
Yep.
And we've gotten a lot of feedback on the show. And I just noticed in social media, CD's Plants is located on North Poplar Street in Aberdeen. But in the social media post, I just noticed this. It inadvertently said Southern Pines.
Oops.
But that doesn't mean that she won't work with people from Southern Pines, right? Very, very smart lady, very knowledgeable, and showing a lot of courage in stepping out on her own. And it occurred to me that so many of our guests are entrepreneurs, independent business people,
Yep.
people who may be in transition and moving from one vocation to another.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about this area that seems to spur on independent contractors and entrepreneurs, don't you think?
Oh, yes, definitely.
I mean, that was me. That's why
You were the start.
I wanted to be
trend.
I wanted to be the antithesis of corporate. Anything that was bureaucratic or corporate or required a meeting of more than 3 people was too much for me. So I think my spirit is that way, and my guest today, I think, shares exactly the same spirit, and I'm talking about Ian Duncan, who is, I guess you've been a resident here of Moore County for about 10 or 12 years now?
Moore County since June, but of North Carolina for about longer.
Gotcha. So you moved here when?
Last June.
Okay.
To Moore County from High Point.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not from North Carolina.
Originally, my wife and I claim Indianapolis. She's from Alaska, but yeah.
She's from Alaska?
Originally.
We're going to talk about her a little bit later, but I was very intrigued in speaking with Amara, your wife. End Zone Sports is a new business in Moore County, and you are the owner. It's a franchise, but it's a very successful franchise that you're bringing here. But it had nothing to do with your background, what you transitioned from.
I'm sitting here laughing about how you were talking about corporate world. It's to a T as far as I'm concerned.
I get it.
Because going into corporate out of the military for me was very difficult. Leadership structure, your what you're there for is kind of hard to quantify, especially there, and it changes, and the culture, etc., is all stuff that's hard for.
A little authoritarian.
A little bit. So being able to do that for myself is something I really wanted. So I agree with you.
How long were you in the military?
4 years, 04 to 08.
Okay. And you then were in the banking industry?
After that, yes, I went to college.
Yeah.
That's where Mara and I met
Okay.
at University of Indianapolis. And then we moved to Greensboro.
Okay.
She got a graduate assistantship. And I started at what was called the Clearinghouse as a security guard. So kind of IT, but I kind of moved up in that area. I took a break to try to be a cop for a little bit, and then I took another break to do government contracting in Africa, and then I always ended up going back to IT world. And then that's what I just left back in March.
So tell me about End Zone Sports, Cliff Notes version, big picture view, just so we can get people's head wrapped around what you're undertaking.
Sure. I'll do the quick background of the franchise itself. Is located in Tampa, Florida, but we have 50 cities around the U.S., over 50 cities, growing. The president and CEO, Dana Hansen and Tony Westbrook, started this back in 2008.
Okay.
And their whole idea is building a culture of youth sports. And that's kind of what I wanted to do and adopted. So they take what they call a SAFE approach, and that is simplicity, achievement, fun, and environment. And there's two different kind of versions of End Zone. One is the league side, it's End Zone Sports. You do leagues, all sports, and then you have the junior side, which is what I'm focusing on right now, which is the preschool ages 2 to 8, introducing all sports to them. Kind of working body and mind all together, and working with preschools to provide a program for those kids.
There's a huge population here of parents where both spouses are working.
Mm-hmm.
They have young children, young kids, and I'm saying between 2 and 8, 2
Mm-hmm.
and 7. And especially as we're coming up upon the end of school here pretty soon, getting into the summer, for parents who are both working full time, daycare becomes problematic, expensive, and in the summers that challenge is even heightened, I think. So I'm intrigued by the fact that you're trying to focus on preschool and elementary school age kids, because there's a huge need for that.
Yeah, and giving them a place to go. So summer camps, I've already kind of tried to work with other places to open summer camps, and have a place for. I mean, we can't be exactly like a stop, like a daycare, but we can provide activities, while they're someplace, and introduce the sports that way as well. So, and again, doing all the sorts of different sports, and summer camp is a perfect time to kind of get that out there, get people understanding kind of what we do and providing that for parents. So always trying to make it easier for parents as well.
One of our frequent guests on the show over the years has been the First Tee Corporation, the First Tee organization,
Mm-hmm.
where they use golf as a hook to train kids of all ages up through high school, but they start, I think it's 6 or 7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
to teach them values like discipline, sportsmanship, honesty, etc. And it goes on and on and on. And they're using golf as a hook. And I'm also thinking to myself that the product of, or the result of what you would do at End Zone Sports would give these kids a chance to grow, to mature, to learn to share with other kids, and social skills would just come naturally.
Yeah, sports is one of those things that can teach you without really knowing you're being taught,
Yeah.
Especially at the kids' age. And
Exactly.
that's where the fun part, like high energy fun, you're doing the sports. And End Zone has created a really great curriculum where they introduce STEM as well. So the science, technology, engineering, and math side, where you're asking a child to kick a ball into a goal at different angles or different forces, and they're kind of implementing that, whole mind aspect where they're learning certain things without really realizing it. And again, introducing sports as a fun way to do it. And that's really, for my part, one of the biggest aspects is having them enjoying what they're doing in a low pressure, less competitive environment that they can enjoy being at, and doing something that they're going to be doing the rest of their lives, hopefully. So I agree with how the golf part is taking it, and we teach the same values, effort, sportsmanship, teamwork, that kind of thing, daily, weekly, and just use all the sports, and they can kind of choose what they enjoy. If they enjoy lacrosse or if they enjoy t-ball, they can do that, but they'll still get the full complement of all sports.
Even though End Zone Sports, I think it's End Zone Sports Pinehurst,
Mm-hmm.
you service, Carthage, Cameron, Aberdeen, Southern Pines, Pine Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a young parent sitting on the sidelines listening to you, I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
And the question I would be asking is, what's in it for my child? And how do they reach you? How do you start that conversation?
Great question. Thank you.
Yep.
I have the phone number. I have the email address. I'm all day, all night. I'm there, available to talk. Right now, like I said, we're kind of working directly with preschools. So if they have a preschool that they want us to come and, give a demo day and see how they respond to it, we're more than happy to do that. And then again, the summer camps will be more publicized, kind of once we get those down. But always open. In the fall, kind of around maybe August timeframe, we'll be doing leagues. So opening that up on Saturdays to be doing different sports, and that way, the kids will have something to go to there.
I have a young lady. She's a physical therapist, PT, and she has a 2.5, soon-to-be 3-year-old son, and he is at the Montessori preschool. Have you been in touch with Montessori at this point?
I spoke to one, the Garden Montessori, which is in Pinehurst. I haven't made it to any of the other ones
Southern
yet.
Pines.
Yeah. They were interested. I just need to follow up with them. But, the Montessori schools are a great idea. The homeschools are a great idea. I think we work very directly with the directors of whatever school we're going to say, these are their needs. How can we provide that? We have a curriculum, but it's up to the director and the parents on how we've kind of implement that. It's best for their vision and their school, and work with them as much as we can.
You said that you'll go out to a school and do a demo day.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what a demo day looks like.
A demo day is kind of a shortened version of a normal program. So we'll go in. All the programs we run are age specific. So we'll work with 2 to 3-year-olds. We'll work with 4-year-olds. Because they all need different versions of the program. And
right.
For a demo day, it'll be about a 10-minute presentation of this is a sport. This is, how we do a program. We'll get a couple kids and we'll, get them excited. All the kids get stamps on their hands or stickers and, send them home with information and say, hey, this was really cool. Mom, Dad, we want to do end zone. And then when we do the full program, they all get jerseys and, awards and all that kind of stuff. So.
And what are the, especially for the preschool age, what are the sports you try to focus in on?
That is another great question. So we do the 4 big ones, which is flag football, basketball, t-ball, and scoops, which is our version of lacrosse.
Oh, okay.
For little kids.
Okay.
And then we start doing also golf, track and field, which is a fun one. And then it's always ever expanding into whatever we can implement. Track and field is also a fun one.
And working with these kids, you probably are an amateur psychologist, having to see all these kids, their personalities all come out, they're all different, and you have to be able to somehow speak to their listening so that it clicks. It's crazy. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. When I bring on coaches, and something that I learned very quickly are energy and patience.
Okay.
So, when you're with the 2 to 3-year-olds,
right? Patience
for one, but it's more monkey see, monkey do, right? You can talk to them all day and, ask them to do certain things, but until they see you doing it, they're not going to really understand. So, and I'll give you, for instance, we were teaching basketball yesterday and how to bounce it. And of course, for me to get down on their level, I got on my knees and started bouncing it. Well, they got on their knees and started bouncing the basketball. So I'm like, no, we'll stay. Okay, I get it. That's my bad. And then the 3 to 4 and then the 5-year-olds, you can give a little bit more instruction. But you're right. You have to adjust to each kind of child in the moment. And, how can you get them to do certain things that sometimes they don't want to do. But, it's fun for them.
Yeah. We're going to come back in the second set. We're going to go into this a little more depth, and you reminded me of a funny story I want to tell you. This is All Things Moore County. Our guest is Ian Duncan of End Zone Sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our second set of All Things Moore County. Our guest for the hour is Ian Duncan. He is the owner of End Zone Sports of Pinehurst, but it's really of Moore County. You don't have to live in Pinehurst. I want to make sure you know that. Ian, we were talking in the first set a little bit about how preschool kids will mimic and imitate you. When you got on your knees to dribble, they got on their knees, and the whole point was you were trying to get on your knees to get to their level, right? And they said, "Oh, I'll do it too." Mm-hmm. I used to live for 19 years across the street from the park in Southern Pines off Connecticut Avenue. Mm-hmm. There's a big park. And in the spring and fall seasons, they used to have young kids come out and learn baseball, soccer, and they would, all the parents would come and watch their kids learning how to play. I mean, these were preschool kids. And I remember watching a little boy. He took a swing with the bat. He hit the baseball right at his feet. And he was so excited that he ran to third base, not to first base. And then, of course, the coach was, say, turned him around and ran him with him down to first base. Mm-hmm. So that's how kids learn. Mm-hmm. And then that came to my mind when I thought of you mentoring these kids, that kind of coaching.
Yeah, the other story is we were doing, basketball again yesterday, and we had these little foam baseballs, and I put a hula hoop around my waist, and they would try to shoot it in there, and I was basically the backboard. What could go wrong? Well, my backboard, one of them hit me in the throat. It was fine. But I was like, oh, my jugular's the backboard. Well, of course, now the kids say, jugular's their backboard. But I really, you see it session over session, right? So like we do once a week. We come in once a week and we do it whatever day works for the daycare or preschool. But you notice that they start picking up on the good things as much as possible, which is really the reward in of itself. So I have one rule. Rule number one: high fives.
Yeah,
it's the first rule. It's the last rule. I might get to a rule number two, but right now. Rule number one is high fives, and that's what they have to do when they get in the gate. And it really, again, teamwork, effort, all those kind of things starts with the energy that you bring to them so that they are doing the same thing and learning while you're learning, and you really kind of have to be a big kid with them to kind of get them to learn the sport, because it's hard learning something new. You're going to fail a bunch.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's really a big goal as well, is not knowing at first is okay.
Right.
You get the achievement once you learn it. So
here's a question. All the towns have summer programs, summer camp programs, day camp, so to speak. And the schools all have their own physical activities for the kids at recess or sports. And how does End Zone blend in with that big picture?
Two different versions of that. One, I feel like the Parks and Rec department and the summer camps do a really good job in this area. I've heard good things.
Yeah.
My End Zone is not here to take anything over, right? I really, really want to supplement
right
the things already offered, because in the end, it's about what kids want to do and the kids having something to do and enjoying it. So if they want to go do one version, that's great and that's fine. And like I said, working with the towns, working with the other things that other people offer is my intention. And so that's going to be a process of getting to know them, getting to work and see what the community needs from End Zone and kind of working into that. As far as the schools, most of the time, the elementary school is kind of a new thing for End Zone, but it's an after-school enrichment program. So think of a chess club. Okay. That's kind of what we're aiming for is, and again, still multi-sport, if that's what the school wants, kind of doing a 45-minute or hour session after school once or twice a week to where the kids can learn something, get used to sports, and that may not be in a program or something like that. So
okay.
That's the goal.
Okay. I'm a parent. I'm
Mhm.
listening to you. I heard your show.
Mhm.
I'm interested. I pick up the phone and I call you.
Mhm.
And as a parent, I say, I have a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. And I'd like to know what you have available for my child and when. How does that conversation go? How does that all start? And where, the where, the when, the why?
If are you in a preschool, or are you in some kind of daycare organization that way? Like I said, right now we're kind of this is building. At some point we may do something with individuals, but mostly we're going to work with preschools. And or are they homeschooled? Or is there like I said, camps during the summer where we can go to a community space and do a day camp or a week-long summer camp. What dates are they available? Here are the dates that we have planned, and they can sign up directly on the website. So
Okay.
when there is a registration period for either a preschool or a summer camp, that will open up on the website, and they can go on, they can register, and they can put their name in, they can log in, and it just gets taken out. The payment gets taken that way for whatever sport or camp they want to do.
And so you will lease different community spaces to host the events.
Yes, correct.
And is it usually Monday through Friday, not a week? Okay.
Until we get to, like I said, the leagues, which is a Saturday only thing. The camps themselves will be during the week. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything in your background or your education that got you to this point that you maybe didn't pursue immediately after the fact, but you are now, and you're looking back maybe over the last 15 years and said, hey, this is where I've landed?
Well, for one, it's scary. So that's what took me so long to get here.
Okay.
Scary's good. Scary, I like scary.
Scary's great.
Scary's awesome.
Actually.
Yeah, I enjoy the uncomfortable, ness of
Right.
all the different things. I was in sports as a kid for the longest time. I remember the instance it stopped being fun. Obviously, I didn't realize it then, but there is a spot where the expectation is you win, you're the best, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then going into the military, those expectations are now expanded and big, and like I was on helicopters as a part of a flight crew. Right, so I was a flight engineer on Pavehawk helicopters with search and rescue, combat search and rescue. And the team aspect of being in a crew of 4 is ingrained in you, and the most important thing, life or death situations. So taking that and putting it into sports, when I really enjoyed doing that. When I went to college, I was on the football team as a wide receiver, and then my wife and I have been playing intramural community sports ever since then, for the past 15 years. So those things are important to us. And how can we, build a sense of community? How can we build a sense of, accomplishment and fun and teamwork and all those beautiful things that come with sports? Beautiful, beautiful things that we love and can bring joy to a community and kids for that matter. So my background is what I enjoyed about it, but also kind of what I missed about it.
As you embark on this endeavor, you're going to find out very quickly what a small community this is,
Mm-hmm.
and how personal referrals mushroom. Word of mouth is almost the single most effective way to get, if one parent is talking to another, that their child is doing this or that. So I've always said, 2 years in Moore County is a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing the right things in terms of marketing, communicating, and implementing, as opposed to a large urban area, you can establish a foothold here very quickly. 2 years is nothing.
Yeah, and I'll speak to that really quick because that's important to me, that when people see me at the grocery store or
Right.
see me trying to get into a preschool, I'm the same person. You're getting the same Ian that, like I don't have a version where I'm trying to sell somebody something or, I'm going to get a pizza. That it's important to me to, be on that same level, that same energy, the same integrity, like that kind of thing. So, and that's what Mara and I discussed when going on this venture. I said it may be a little slower than we want because I want to get the name out there the right way, and I want people to trust what we're doing, especially when we're working with their kids. So that's a goal of ours, and again, it might take a little bit longer, but it will be better, in my opinion, in the long run.
You speak like an old soul, just like your wife. I mean, I've been in the real estate business for 26 years, and even though I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and northern New Jersey, I feel like a full-time, lifelong resident here of Moore County, and that's 26 years. And the people that you can't go to a restaurant and not know who's inside just by looking at the car and the license plate.
I love that.
It's crazy. But slow growth is important because you build a good root system. And if you do something too quickly, sometimes it can be like a flash in the pan.
Right.
Hey, I want to come back, and how we met was pretty serendipitous. And to go back to the point about what a small community it is, it's because of that we're sitting here at the table together.
Agreed.
Ian Duncan is my guest, End Zone Sports, working with preschool and elementary school kids in a sports education, play activity, and helping the kids grow and learn about things that transfers to all different elements of their lives as they grow up. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our final set of All Things Moore County with Ian Duncan of End Zone Sports, who is bringing programs to all of Moore County and the Sandhills for preschool and elementary school kids, using sports and mentoring as a hook for the kids to develop outside of the home and develop social skills as they're growing and maturing. We were talking at the end of the second set about what a small community it is and how serendipitous it is that you and I are sitting here talking. Why is that? We back in November, I had my right knee scoped, I guess is a term, or
Sure.
cleaned out. And Dr. Gerald Felder at Pinehurst Surgical did the procedure. It was November the 5th, and I got a chance to know his PA, Mara, who is your wife.
That's my wife.
Who I am a big fan of. She is an old soul. She's smart. She listens. She's great. And we got to talking a little bit because she probably got so tired of seeing me come in that I would take the conversation elsewhere. And she was telling me about what you're doing. And I said, please put him in touch with me because it sounded very intriguing. And lo and behold, here we are. But as a result of the knee scope that I had, I also had physical therapy with Janine Pearson, who is actually cut from the same cloth as Mara. If the two of them knew each other, they would hit it off. Your wife she's exceptional. Mara is exceptional.
Mara is someone that would take the clothes off her own back to give to somebody else.
Yeah.
If it's freezing outside, she cares for everybody equally, without exception. And
I thought it was just me.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
geez.
Bill, but but it's great, and I hope she'll never change, and it works very well with her career. And just to say off, Dr. Felder, he did my shoulder, so I trust him pretty well.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, Janine, who I mentioned, the physical therapist, she has a 2.5-year-old son that I mentioned earlier in the show. And I was telling her that we were going to be speaking, and, she and her husband, they both work. And even though she has in-laws that can help with sort of pseudo daycare, her eyes sort of lit up when she heard about this End Zone Sports, what it could mean for her child. So in that way, it's a small community. You got Mara, you've got Janine, we talk, and now here you are. And that's what happens in this community, which is makes it a very cool community to live in.
Yeah, what I've been impressed with the most is people helping other people when it doesn't benefit them.
Right.
And Mara and I will be adding to that because we feel that in our bones. It's something that, we want to provide as well, again, without the benefit to us sometimes. So I've seen it. You're doing it right now. Thank you so much. But the small community, it only functions if you kind of have that.
Well, you're both of you then, I would characterize the two of you of working from the perspective of a servant's heart. And at such a young age, I'm assuming you're both in your 30s somewhere?
I'm 40. Jeez.
No, I said you're both in your 30s somewhere. But you're about others and opening up your arms, and it's not me, 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 me. So it's impressive at such a young age. It takes people sometimes years to develop those skills and adopt that attitude.
Thank you.
It's interesting. You also are very careful and caring about the coaches that you work with and you will be working with in the future as things grow. And I know you want to talk about that too.
The coaches are one of the most important aspects of End Zone. So when we bring on a coach, they're certified through End Zone and they're background checked. Obviously, anybody working with children,
of course,
has to be background checked. But we want people that have the energy and have the drive and the patience, like we talked about before,
right?
To work with kids, because our whole goal is to benefit the child body and mind, which is what the curriculum is really designed to do. So introduce the joy of sports, introduce the energy of sports, and once again, have them enjoy something they're going to be doing the rest of their lives. So our coaches are going to embody that, and that's something that I'm going to enjoy, building that culture of, and I'm hoping the parents are going to see the benefit of that themselves. You
mentioned you have an event on the 25th of April.
I do. I've had the opportunity, the grace to be visit the Kiwanis Club of Moore County. They have a meeting, I believe, every Wednesday, and they have an event on the 25th of April in Cannon Park in Pinehurst of Military Child Appreciation Day, which obviously touches me very deeply. I'm a veteran myself, and as much as I can do for other veterans and their families,
right,
I'm open to do. And it's just an appreciation day. And, my wife and I will be out there just kind of with the tent, not selling anything, just entertaining the children. And
well, there's a difference, between selling something and just giving people good information that they can decide what they want to do with it. And part of the show is, we're not an advertising medium. I'm not. The theme is like Moore County's a great place to live. That's the theme of the show. And if you give people good information, it's up to them. It's not selling, it's just informing. And we really try to keep that in that vein as opposed to blatant, marketing and advertising. Right. People get plenty of that on social media.
Everywhere.
Right? You don't need to have that happen. And you have you're soft-spoken. You have a credible, very credible manner about you. And I think if people met you and, you have these eyeball-to-eyeball conversations with people, it's the most effective way to market because especially protective parents of young children, they want to size you up. They want to know who you are, who your coaches are, what environment they're going to be in. And which brings me to another question. These sessions, how long will they last if you have an activity planned?
They're generally between 30 and 60 minutes.
Okay.
So, with children that age, we don't want to overstay our welcome, so to speak, but we also want to get them engaged in running around and, using that energy.
So I'm envisioning the parents will be there for the whole time watching them, or could be.
Yes.
Okay.
If they want.
Yes,
Yeah.
if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Or they want to get a
break.
drink for an hour, have a hard drink, and come back.
100%.
The other question I had was, in your experience, do you see this, will this attract 50% boys, 50% girls, and will you have them all working together? But maybe we don't know that yet.
No, Bill, that's an amazing question. I'm glad you brought that up because it's important for me personally to be as inclusive as possible and getting sports comfortable with, the area or, the girls that maybe don't have that opportunity. My wife is obviously very big into sports. She did women's tackle football for a few years.
You say tackle football?
Women's tackle football, 11 on 11, tackle football. She's impressive. And I was coaching that, and it opened my eyes to the avenues that a lot of women don't have to do sports. So it's not a specific catering, but at the same time, you want to involve everybody that may or may not know they want to do sports, give that opportunity, see where they take it themselves. So 50-50, I'm great with that, whatever number we can get.
It's a reflection of our times. We have guests on students in the theater quite a bit, and I give all these kids in the theater so much credit for their courage. When I was in high school, if you were in the theater, you were outside the zip code.
Yep.
Unless you were a jock. That's all that the girls were cheerleaders, the boys were the jocks. That was it. Today, these kids show more courage because they're out there one-on-one with the crowd. And I see that they're being more recognized today, just like you were saying.
Yeah, and I'm happy to hear that as well. I was in theater in high school and in college. So I did the football in college, and I also did theater.
Wow.
And it's a different world.
Almost diametrically opposed to one another.
I think I only got roles because I was an athlete. Sometimes I'm not sure my acting was on par. But it's a different world that you see and you immerse yourself in. You learn so many things. Like we were talking about before, just putting yourself in uncomfortable positions and see how you react. And you learn from that.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, in my opinion, every time I work out, you're in an uncomfortable position. What can you kind of stress your body in a certain way and that kind of thing. So that's been a big part of, my wife and I's development with each other and with ourselves. And I think it's been beneficial.
Well, End Zone Sports in the Sandhills here in Moore County, I think you're on to something. And, how to grow it from the grassroots up is the challenge. So, honestly, again, people, parents who may be listening, they're intrigued. They want to call you. They want to email you. Do they want to go to the website? How do you direct them?
A lot of great information on the website. endzonesports.com/Pinehurst is the website. My phone is always open, which is 910-621-5231.
Right.
And my email is iduncan@endzonesports.com. And they can always call with questions if there's information on the website. The things that we'll be doing are going to be up there as well. It'll have a nice little pop-up that'll say the things that are coming up. So anyway,
I'm going to try to put you in touch with some people that I know in the school system and or the towns with their recreational projects, because after 20 plus years, you know everybody. It's crazy, and I definitely want to do that, and I want to wish you well. I have a feeling that you are onto something that's going to only grow and become more important as the demographics are shifting here in Moore County. We're getting inundated with young kids and families, young military families. There's another whole marketing circle for you.
Lots of military families. Our neighborhood, full of them, full of kids.
Yeah. Exactly. Ian, it was a pleasure to have you. We both owe a debt of thanks to Mara for setting this up. And End Zone Sports, keep your ears and eyes open because you're going to be hearing more and more about it from Ian. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week.